Hi everyone, good morning. It's Monday morning, Friday the 22nd of February. We're almost out of this month again. And before I go into the subject that we are going to discuss today, which is the economic update, I have been asked by subscribers, and I do apologize to one particular one that I promised to do this a little bit earlier, but I did not manage. However, here it is. What we are going to talk about today is a very important subject, and this is how the economic updates and news announcements affect our trading, what we should be aware of, and to avoid falling into the traps of not having enough information when we are trading, or even when we are using auto traders, and this is the time where we should be selecting to switch them off. I would like to invite people watching this YouTube to have a look at our update with the Copy Buffett software. We've had really very good results, but one of the reasons we've had good results is that we have been watchful of the economic updates and switched the robot off at the specific times when we have very important news which will affect trading. As I explained in our update with the Copy Buffett software, auto traders are engineered in such a way that they work on algorithms. So they really work extremely well when the market is going, at a very good movement, but without any crazy spikes. When there are the crazy spikes, and this is what I'm going to show you today, and when to watch out for them, this is where you need to avoid having a robot trading on your behalf hands-free, because it is not engineered in such a way that it can anticipate the human factor. The human factor is not factored in. So if you know how to use an auto trader along with an economic update, you can really be quite sure that you are going to have good results, as we have had with the fantastic Copy Buffett software, which I really highly recommend, and which, if you would like to try out, you can just click on the link below and visit their site. But I am on the landing page for Forex Factory. Forex Factory I find to be very, very simple to understand, and this should be really a no-brainer for anyone, even if any of you have no idea about trading. So forexfactory.com gives you a calendar, so you have your forums, your trades, your news, which could also be very interesting reading, but most important is your calendar. So we are on the calendar page. Today is the 22nd. As you can see, this is all the important news that is going to happen within the next couple of days. But before we go into the news, there are a few things I would like to specify, and one of them is that the red icons are showing that something which is of a high impact, so it will have a high impact on the currencies related to it, and that's expected at that particular time. The orange ones expect to have a medium effect on the currencies, whereas the low will have a low impact expected on the currency pairs that you will be looking at. So back to our page, back to our calendar. First important thing that you need to do is to synchronize the clock, which is here, to whatever geographical area you're in. So in my case, if you look here, we are looking at a watch that has been synchronized to where I am originally from, which is the beautiful little island of Malta, and this is the time, which is 1 hour plus GMT. At the moment I am not there, I'm really far away, I'm on the other side of the globe, and I am not up at 5:50 in the morning, but I have chosen this because my screen for trading is also synchronized at the same time. I will show you the NetDania station in a little while, and it's very important that whatever charting station you are looking at and your Forex Factory calendar must be synchronized at the same time. If you don't have the exact synchronization, you will end up having a problem because you are looking at data at times which will not be reflected on your charting station. So very important, charting station, calendar should be looking the same. I hope I made that absolutely clear. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to look at some trade history and how some of the data that was announced last week, particularly I am going to be looking at Wednesday, Thursday, probably no, Friday and Saturday. So the data that happened on and the information and the news that was announced on Thursday and Friday have had impacts on a currency pair which I quite like to trade with. So let's have a look at some historical data and show how the information that comes along with, I'm moving myself so you can see the data. So the information that comes out from the bodies concerned have an effect on trading. So we're looking at Thursday, last Thursday, February the 18th, and I am going to be looking at the currency pair sterling. Always it's quoted against either the euro or the USD. In this case, we are going to look at sterling USD. So what happened at 10 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, the 18th of February, was that there was a very important speech which was given by the MPC member Cunliffe. Now, the point is this. These are speeches that you will never quite know the effect of. Whereas when you have other data, and this we're looking at historical data or historical data, whichever way you want to see it. For example, at random, I pick up a non-important news, which is the CB leading index. So the historical result was minus 0.3. The expected result was 0.1, but actual announcement was that it was minus 0.2. The likely effect it would have had on the US dollar is that the US dollar would have fallen fractionally because the results obtained are a little bit worse than the forecasted results. If you have a look, if we go back on the fresh, because here I'm looking at a screenshot, whereas if we look back at the original here, which is the live data we have, here you can see that this is the actual result achieved as compared to the forecasted and as compared to the previous results. So when you are waiting for important information, the first thing you do is look at the previous result and the forecast. On the particular moment, first of all, you need to refresh your browser. So you just need to go on this little icon here, look at your time. If the time looks, because this does not automatically refresh and update. So close to the time where you have any of these red icons in your timeline and you are trading, then you need to refresh your browser to get your result as soon as it is announced. This is extremely important, otherwise you will be trading on historical information. Now we're going to see how we can do this either to our advantage or else to just avoid the bright lights of the red and the orange icons and just to decide not to do trading there, because we will see how high the volatility is during the time when there are announcements. So February, we go back to Thursday, February the 18th, around 10 o'clock in the morning, quite a few things happened which could affect the sterling. And we will see that that is actually what happened. First of all, we had the MPC members' speech, which obviously must have reflected and had an impact on the sterling. At the same time, we also had the euro results, where we had the current account being in a much stronger position than actually it was envisaged to be. If we have a look at our chart, now we will be able to see exactly what happened on Friday the 18th. Here we are at around this particular time when the announcements were made. Since the news was positive, so the speech must have held a lot of impact, and also the results of the euro were favorable, these had an impact on the sterling. And what happened here is that the sterling against the US dollars, here we are looking at a 10-minute chart, so every one of these candlesticks are signifying 10 minutes of trading. We had 10 and another 10 and another 10 and another 10 of very steep incline on the price between the sterling and the US. So the sterling at this point in time against the US dollar made a price hike, really shot up, and this is how we could have used this instance where there was a news announcement and there was a speech to our advantage. If you are a fairly experienced trader, you know that whenever there is a news announcement and the result is better than anticipated, you are going to see a price hike. If you get that in binary options, the way you would have traded is to take a call option for the next 20 minutes, half an hour. If you would have taken the call option at this point for half an hour, look at where the price will have landed, and you would have definitely been in the money. So here we are back to our historical data, and we are looking this time at Friday, February the 19th, where we had important information. You can see the icon is red, 10:30 in the evening. We had a historical information that the consumer confidence, and this is a very important aspect that has a lot of influence and impact on currency pairs. The consumer confidence was -6 on the last report. It was anticipated to be -7, so it was anticipated that it would be deteriorating, but in fact the result was only a -2. What effect did this have on the US dollar? The US dollar would certainly have gained from such a positive impact, and this would have also reflected very adversely against other currencies. Here we are with the information on, again, we are looking at the same screenshot for sterling and the US dollar, this time on the 19th of February, very late in the evening, 10:30, and bang, on the spot, you start having a little bit of nervousness before, because people who have information will start, playing around, but it would have seemed like there was already some news and feeling that it was going to be positive information for the US dollar, and that means that all other currencies, people are ready to buy the US dollar very fast and let go of any other currencies. And as we can see, the sterling, which is here in this case, it's the sterling against the US dollar, so the sterling is the currency which is having the impact, falling severely at this point. At exactly 10:30, when the news was announced, we see that we had a drop, so the price went up and then back all the way down, started up, going up, but did move up and down, started back here. So this is again a situation where we can see that the currency pairs were affected positively and negatively depending on the economic data. How could one have made use of this? Of course, if it was a question of dealing on the spot and using the economic information that we had in hand to trade and take advantage, then of course here you would have had to put a put option, and you can see that the currency actually really went down for at least 20-30 minutes. So in this case, a 10-minute or 15-minute option would have seen us in the money. It would actually, if we had taken it somewhere around here, it would have been safe to take it for as long as 30 minutes. When it is not information of extremely high impact, it is quite probable that the currency bounces right back. And this is where you can use your turbo for those who know a little bit more about trading. So this is the 30, the 60 second or 180 all the way up to 300 seconds trading on binary options, where you kind of take trades against the market, anticipating the pullback that we had over here. So you either trade on the economic data in the same direction that the results are going, or else you wait a little bit longer and wait for the currency pair that you are dealing in to come back to their original pricing, which, as you can see, actually after more or less half an hour or 40 minutes of trading, we had the same price going back to a level, even though eventually it did drop again. So you can also choose, especially, and I go back to my original statement, if you are using auto traders, you do need to know about these important bubbles in trading, where you ought to switch your auto trader off, because there is a possibility. Some auto traders are done so fantastically that they would even react in their algorithms to these price movements, which are affected by news announcements and economic data. Most others would be a robot. So basically, they would be working perfectly well when you have regular trading going on, which went on for more or less, in this case, 12 hours of trading. So 12 hours of trading, your auto trader would have been perfectly safe with the currency pair of sterling and US dollar. So just a few conclusions for those who asked about information on economic data. May I remind you that Forex Factory is has a fantastic calendar, which makes it really simple to detect which are the high priority, the middle priority, and the low priority news announcements, and that is where you want to watch out to either ride the wave or avoid the high seas, as we would say. I would recommend that traders who are seasoned obviously can take advantage of situations, but if you're new, I would absolutely try to avoid areas and pockets of time where you have very important news announcements, because you might not be fast enough to react to the results of the economic data and the economic calendar. One charting station I like to use is NetStation. NetStation has a lot of tools that you can use with it. Here maybe I will dedicate one other YouTube to say how you can use the tools to help you make decisions. I have already done a few of those, but I will continue to do others. However, in relation to auto traders, then I would use the economic data to make sure that I avoid the high impact news and make sure that my robot is not going to work against me instead of in my favor. Just remember the Copy Buffett software, which we are very confident will be very, very good tool for your trading results, can be downloaded from the link below. And also please do subscribe to our channel, because we will keep giving you important information, as I think this YouTube review has done, for people who want more and more information on how to trade. And in the end, bottom line, you must trade safe, never trade more than you can afford to lose. And yeah, for those people who have said, can you make money trading binary options? I would say yes, you definitely can make money. currently trading binary options, especially when you have additional information like I've given today. Thank you. See you soon.